Hey everybody, welcome back to Lightning Returns, and today we're going to take a break from the Wildlands and go visit our good buddy Fang.
I'm okay with that. Honestly, I'm still not certain if I prefer Fang or our new Chocobo friend as a guest star party member. It's close, but yeah.
I think Fang is probably more actively useful, given the stuff that you have to fight in the desert.
I guess. Honestly, I think I just prefer having Fang back in the party. I like Fang. Everyone likes Fang.
Eh.
You say also, yeah, we have a new guest. Introduce yourself.
I'm Tate.
Forget these idiot bandits and forget
Hi.
that treasure.
Oh, this brat.
What are you doing?
Oh, I remember him.
Just gilling my spots for hall to ear.
Well, specifically, I remember that unique
Hope, can you
eyewear,
this for me?
and
It seems to me like it's some kind of
The gibberish.
code or cipher.
yeah.
I don't have enough data yet to break it.
Can't you
This is a pretty complex code.
Knit.
See, and that's how you get stuff past the
I
sensors.
don't have any info about any treasure if that's what you're looking for.
Isn't this game M?
Buffet to you.
Or is it
Like
T?
many people
No,
choose
this is a T game.
unless they're after
Oh,
treasure.
jeez.
So, what's your story?
Besides, we don't swear after Final Fantasy
The
VII.
world's going to end soon anyway, right? If that's the
Everyone
case,
knows
what's the
this.
point in having dreams or working
In fact,
hard?
I think 7 was the only one where they did actually, like, copiously swear the whole time.
Nice way to spend your last days.
I can't re-
Yes, and even then, the vast majority of that was just
What I
Barrett.
do now makes any
Yeah.
sort of
And
difference
Sid.
anyway, so why bother?
Don't forget Sid.
No matter how much I might unravel mysteries of the
But
past,
yeah.
none of these bandits
Ugh.
care. They don't even listen to my findings.
This guy is...
Trowing even nice to understand.
I don't even need to comment, really.
It's one of those types of kids that, like, obviously you want to punch, but unfortunately he is a main character quest.
Yeah, he's just got too much stuff to give us. Oh well. Instead, let's comment on Lightning's sharp new appearance. I don't know where to start with this one. Who's responsible for this?
Do you really expect to find
I
these
don't
things out
remember
there?
who the hell suggested this. I don't pay any attention to who actually submits these, I just do them. But yes, this is a thread submitted one, so somebody in there is responsible for this abomination.
Whoever it is knows who they are. I hope. Does it at least have good stats?
Yeah, this is our designated saboteur one. So for the desert, that's actually super handy.
Yeah. Yeah, debuffs are good around here.
Yeah, I think the desert is one of my favorite areas. Is because I'm a big fan of like the one-on-one fights, especially the ones that are shelled first and you have to like get them to break to open up. Those are my favorite type of fights, even back in the original 13.
Yeah, they were like the pretty archetypal demonstration of where the stagger system is actually slightly satisfying to use.
Oh wait, never mind. I just remembered I actually don't like the desert because of those fish things.
Yeah, we'll get to them in a minute.
I didn't mind them so much. The only really intolerable thing around here is the Earth Eaters.
I still like the Earth Eaters a lot because one-on-one fights, and especially big ones where they require some timing and strategy, the fish ones are just terrible because they just have moments of invulnerability, and anything that makes battles longer for no reason is really annoying to me.
Don't the fish get really majorly fucked over by being perfectly blocked?
Yeah, you can parry. Say if you parry a fish, they'll instantly get staggered.
Yeah, I mean, like even the big fights, well, the big enemy fights, are still quite fun once you reach a certain point. But like early on in the game, the numbers are just too high.
What is it? Don't tell me you actually found something.
Games like this need to lead in with a certain amount of leeway.
How did you had
Yeah, we found your shit because you threw it like
Never mind that.
maybe a couple feet outside of town.
Now.
You want it back?
What even is the deal with this guy?
His name is Elmer. I think that's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Fine. I'll talk if I have to. My dad was a great bandit, okay?
I'm shocked.
But he was also a great appraiser. He spent his whole life studying the relics in these ruins.
So he
Didn't a lot of people around here do that?
No, it wasn't like that.
I mean, like, isn't
Not
that
at
the whole
all.
point of this
He
bandit
taught me
camp?
everything he knew so that I could become a
It's been
scholar.
500 years. I guess some of them
Wanted
just
to
got
be able
bored.
to unravel the mysteries of the past. But then he disappeared. Never made it home. No one ever found any clue as to what happened. He left me and took my only chance at becoming a scholar with him. Didn't have much choice. I could appraise or starve.
What do you mean, starve?
Yeah, like, this is a world that canonically has free food for
I
everyone.
should have just done what my dad wanted and kept working to be a real scholar.
I don't get
He's
it.
gone. It's too late now. This world is nearly done for.
I think
But if I'm
they
ever
try to
ready
straddle the
promise
lines
I'll
of
take things a bit
this
more
unique
seriously.
setting in which
I'll
no
give it
one
my
can
all.
die, but then
I'll
they
study hard,
forget
and I'll become a
sometimes,
great
and that makes it
scholar and
really
solve all kinds of
awkward.
mysteries. Or
Sounds about right.
too much to ask for.
You should dream
It's
big
like a
and
fun
first
little
step
game
to
of
making
which
your
part was
dream
Square
come true
Enix
is
and which
believing
part was
it can come
Tri-Ace.
true.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like this game. The whole thing is categorized by here's the two camps of writers, and here's the one that's taking this shit seriously, and here's the one that's not.
But then recently I played Final Fantasy 14 and Star Ocean 5, and now I'm trying to like reverse the categories of which one is stupid and which one is right.
I've always been like slightly curious about 14 because I just heard this non-stop torrent of praise about it. But it's an MMO, and there's my pride to consider.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, like, 14 is a good game, but it is still an MMO, and absolutely nothing is going to change that if you don't like MMOs.
Yeah.
I think the biggest hurdle for 14 and for a lot of people is that you can treat it as a single player RPG for the most part, but the thing is it has almost no voice acting, and some people I know really need voice acting in their games, especially for RPGs.
I mean, you know, I'm a fan of good voice acting as much as the next guy, but it's not like it's completely intolerable when a game doesn't have it.
Anyway, yeah, that was the Desert Sahagin. If you parry them, they will get staggered, otherwise they're a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah, and like enemies that like require a defensive option and the other option is just like wait your ass around is like not exactly my favorite type of enemies. And the fact that these are like the most common in the desert, you know, and they're kind of hard to avoid is like a lot of things.
So these unappraised items that we've been picking up, now that we've done the side quest for that one kid, if you take them to him, he will give you stuff for them.
Or rather, he'll tell you what they are, because apparently you couldn't tell what they are yourself. But he's like, no, that thing's totally a high potion. I don't know why you didn't recognize it, but it's totally a high potion. And then you get a high potion.
I mean, does Lightning really have time to learn?
They say, we got a schedule to keep, man.
Yeah. Anyway, the items can be really, really good stuff sometimes.
Entrance to the ruins is marked by a very clear landmark.
Yeah, but it's like good, but not in the endgame type splurge effort.
Yeah, but you know, it's a noticeable help. Like you can either get like items that just sell for a whole bunch of money. Like you can get gold dust, and you can get some good healing items. I think. I could be wrong in this, but can't you get ethers from this guy?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure one of the last things he gives you is a turbo ether.
Like last things? Thought it was just random.
No, like, he does have a list of stuff, like, as you give him more and more unappraised items, Like, you will eventually reach a certain point where you... Like, he has certain milestones where he gives you stuff.
Oh, I thought it was just like, you know, for every one it just rolls, and you get whatever the hell it turned out to be.
But yes, you can get, like, ethers from him.
I didn't know it was entirely deterministic. I guess I'm learning what the...
Lady?
Have you heard about the thing they say appears in these ruins? You know what I mean. The legend, of course.
Yeah, the legend.
Hear it first. A creepy rattling and
She seems a lot more concerned with something appearing outside the ruins, though. Well, whatever. How did you hear that? Serious question.
RPGs always go on the rule of, like, fungus. What one learns, the other will always know.
Fang, there's one thing I need to know. Why would you want to summon the souls of the dead? What exactly are you planning on doing with the clavis?
That is an excellent question.
I'm not the one who wants the damn thing. I wouldn't even know what to do with it. It's Vanille who needs it. For some reason, when we woke up from the crystal, she picked up some strange new ability. Now she hears the voices of the dead. She
Well, at
says
least everyone's
she can
stories
feel
are
all the
consistent.
feelings of those souls that are trapped in the chaos. According to her, it's like listening to 1,000 different voices all crying out at once. And she's the only one who can hear them. Or something.
Or
And that
something.
power is exactly why the
She
Order
swerves
became
great
interested.
straight from
If Vanille
taking it
felt
deadly
like
seriously to being like, yeah, whatever.
She should be able to call all those souls to her.
So the Order plans to gather all the souls of the dead? Why? To save them?
Come on,
This
it's
kind of
no
raises a follow-up question,
No need to play stupid.
which is,
You oughta know.
why
You're
aren't the
here under
Order
orders,
here?
aren't you? High and mighty savior.
I wouldn't
We'll
assume anything if I were you.
Get there.
I'm not here for the Order. It seems like you don't see eye to
The
eye
short
with them.
version is that
Care
up
to
until
share?
now,
That's a
they say both the
stupid
bandits and the Order have been totally locked out, so...
If the Secular snatch up
Ah,
Travis
good
first,
job on that.
I'll never forgive myself.
Also, the who now?
The Seculars, they're the part of the Order that are here.
It's got something good behind it.
Did
Or I'm
we
not a bandit.
ostensibly know that?
Maybe a savior can get it open.
No, in fact, that's the first time we've heard that word.
I'll let you know when we're there.
Good work on the exposition there, Fang.
So yeah, welcome to the ruins. This is about as generic dungeon as this game ever gets.
Pro tip, fuck this place.
Don't rush inside like
Is
a
this the
fool.
one that requires timing?
If you get hurt.
Yeah,
Sure, there are shortcuts back
Yeah,
to
we'll
the
get there in a
surface.
little bit, but there are a ton of time doors in here.
He's right, you know. I've been able to plot numerous shortcuts and
the
but every last one
somewhat good thing is that it adds them all to the map so you can see like what they're going to be.
You had
And
better.
they're
Why else do you
literally
think I
all
let
of them
Slacker
are
like
of
you
the
like a
form,
prestigious gang of
you know,
ne'er-do-wells?
open this time and close that time, and they're all opposed, so every whatever hours, all of the doors alternate. So it's not
And most likely
that complicated, it's just kind of a pain to deal with.
We'll just have to find the clavis before they hear that we're in then.
I imagine doing this whole clusterfuck on a late day might be a slightly interesting experience.
Oh, and the thing is that chromostasis is kind of like negated around these puzzles.
Yeah, because you kind of need time to be passing in a lot of cases.
Remember the details of each
I say, on the flip side, though, the desert is probably the desert more than anywhere else in the game is probably the place where it's easiest to just run around with infinite chronostasis. So
all based on the time of day.
once you get the door that you need to flip, you don't really have to ever worry about anything else.
Time of day. You could end up having to take the
Yeah, it's
long
nice that the
way
doors have
or
clocks
get
on
saved
them.
from the ruins.
Yes, thank you, game.
They flip every hour, so
Yeah. Well, they could have been a lot more obnoxious about that, I guess. Thanks, note.
well, that note's important because if you check those things, it'll add the doors to your map.
Oh, that's actually pretty good then. But didn't we already know about both of those doors?
Well, we did, but like I said, they weren't on the map though.
Really? We were looking right at them. That's dumb. On top of everything else, the music in here is pretty grating. High?
But have you considered that there are skeletons here?
I hadn't considered that.
So skeletons are kind of obnoxious. Basically, they're a double stagger enemy, so you don't actually get a whole lot out of it unless you put them down twice.
Well, the first stagger seems to be giving them curse, which means that once they're staggered, you can interrupt the shit out of them. So there's that.
Yeah, yes and no. Once you stagger them the first time, they also start using Blood Sword, and Blood Sword is really obnoxious.
But you can interrupt it.
I've never had any luck interrupting Blood Sword when they try to use it.
Imagine what would have made Fang
I mean, you can't interrupt the attack once it starts, but you can keep them basically perpetually locked. At least that's the theory.
I think I remember, if I'm remembering correctly, I used something like fire and then I just parried him.
If you destroy the statue, you may find treasure, or find yourself.
Anyway, the flip side to that is that you're accompanied for all this by Fang, who, you know, besides just being a second pair of hands in the battle, has some very particular abilities that are really, really good. Notably, she has Deep Protect Hunter, which is probably the best passive ability combat-wise in the whole game. I had a lot of fun like using that as a passive with Light Slash. I think that might actually have been morally kind of cheating to use Deep Protect Hunter with Light Slash, but, you know, swings and roundabouts. So yeah, Fang can fuck shit up.
all your technology?
Chaos has distorted both space and time.
I always wanted to try out Light Slash, but I never was happy with like the damage and gauge output.
Yeah, they had the theory down with, you know, here's the one that costs half as much and comes out twice as far, blah 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 blah, and it never quite worked out. But like, I think there's a couple of reasons besides the damage to use Heavy Slash, but honestly, the point of Light Slash, if you ask me, is just to have the Protect Hunter added to it, because when you do that, it actually activates an entirely different ability with set damage instead of the one that you use. So it doesn't matter if you use Attack or Heavy Slash or Light Slash. You pay whatever AP cost you pay, and then you get a different ability altogether.
Yeah. It's more of a playstyle difference, I feel, is because my style is usually like, if I can parry it, I will parry it, and then deal normal slash, and, you know, in that small window of vulnerability. And Light Slash just doesn't fit with my sort of heavy-duty counterattack playstyle.
Yeah, there is one other major tactic that involves Light Slash, which is that if it's on your third schemata that you switch to while the other two are recharging, you can use it to stall a lot more effectively, because it's only using like half the amount of AP, so you can just keep a combo going for however long and get the other two dresses more time to recharge. So there's that.
Yeah, it's what I like about this game is that it's unlike a lot of other Final Fantasies, is that you definitely have a distinct playstyle that all works reasonably well until the end game, in which it's all the same strategy because some are just DPS checks.
Yeah. Like, I think there's definitely a lot more strategic variety in this game than there is in either 13 or 13-2. Because, like, the strategy in 13 was, do you use debuffs or not? And for everything other than the super bosses, it kind of ends up all being the same.
I think 13-2's main problem was just not falling asleep through half the game.
Well, there's that too.
I think 13.2 has a lot more problems than that, but...
Oh, I just think, like, if it had, you know, the same level of difficulty as 13, I wouldn't have, like, you know, gave up on it so quickly. But it's like, you know, after like 10 hours, I'm like, oh my god, this game is easier than FF5.
Yeah, it was all part of their scheme to like, we are going to respond to every single fan complaint and take it seriously, and you know, fan complaints had a lot of point about Final Fantasy 13, but fans are also idiots. So one of the most common complaints was, it's too difficult, so Square Enix were like, okay, we hear you. Here's a game that's easy as piss. So good work on that.
So speaking of like casuals and stuff, like, okay, here's the thing. Like, we know game journalists are like really bad at video games, right?
I would qualify that statement a lot, but broadly I agree.
Yeah, probably like, you know, like the usual like IGN crunchers and GameSpot and stuff, like.
Yeah, a lot of it comes from they gotta do stuff under a deadline, so they literally don't have the time to get good.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, here's the thing, like, even though game journalists are bad at video games for the most part, like, how did they beat 13? Like, how did they beat the Iron Juggernaut? Like, that was the biggest roadblock for me, and I was like, how does anyone beat that unless you, like, set the game to easy?
Well, that's the thing, there isn't an easy mode for 13. Like, not in the original. That wasn't until the Japanese release. Or like the international edition.
Yeah, I don't think... The thing about 13 is that there was a good extent to which you could make a lot of progress by just bashing your head against it, and at the same time, it's like I wouldn't put it past them to just like know a bunch of story details or like even just not take it into account. Like, I don't think you'd have needed to actually beat 13 in order to write a pre-release review of it. But you know.
But it's like, I only bring it up because like it's only notable because one reviewer admitted he didn't beat the game, and then the rest actually did, and it's like, how did they beat the Iron Juggernaut? Like, I couldn't beat the Iron Juggernaut, and I know the mechanics in and out at times.
I don't know. I think they were probably given a lot of time. Like, 13 had a pretty... I don't think it had a like massively tight deadline for getting reviews out between when they got their copies and when the game hit. So, like, you know, I don't think it's very unlikely that they would have actually had time to actually come to grips with it. Or maybe they're just better at video games than we're giving them credit for.
Alright, well, at any rate, so we saw the big sealed door. That is our ultimate goal. In fact, once we go through that door, we will be at the end of Fang's story.
Let's not do that.
However, we need to view some art, as the game put it, before we're allowed to go in there.
Cool. That thing on the door seems to be having some issues.
Yeah, also the door is freaking out there a little bit, but...
Alright, you can't break the seal with brute force. Not surprising.
Also, I disagree vehemently with this game's use of the word crux.
Good to know if you need to get back to the desert fast. Since you went to
Like,
the trouble of unsealing the door,
I get that it has a literal meaning, but the word just isn't used like that anymore, and it just seems like they're trying very hard to be edgy and unique by using this word to mean a thing that it doesn't mean anymore. It's like, ignore me.
So do you think Crux is Square Enix or Tri-Ace?
Square.
Yeah. Absolutely, Square.
But yeah, so there's a couple of these passages scattered throughout the ruins, and they are basically just a shortcut back to the surface.
Good to know.
They're handy, I guess, but there's a bunch of red cactar statues down there anyway, which you can also use to get out, so... eh.
We're not wanting for ways to get around. Well, one thing's clear, we're gonna need to do a lot more random item hunting to get ahead in this place.